Brené Brown said, "Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are." Something I've been struggling with a lot lately is trying to determine who I am in this hyped world of social media. And it's actually like a very odd thing to wonder who you really are, since you are the one who knows yourself better than anyone else. But when you start becoming intentional about putting yourself out there for the world to evaluate you, you start to wonder if you want the world to see the real you. So I dug into it and I figured out this exact answer and why it's so important. And it's really funny because I'm nearly 40 years old. I've had 3 very successful careers, including military special operations. I was a special agent. Now I'm an ER doctor. I'm also a top 1% podcast host. I'm married. I have 4 children. And so you would think that by now I would have it all figured out. I mean, I can only imagine what it's like to be young in this world full of posers and societal unrealistic expectations. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned from my own journey of self-discovery, and maybe some of it you can apply to your own life. So the first discovery I came across is that who you are is very flexible. We are not a specific defined person or personality. In fact, every situation that you're in demands a different side of you. For instance, you don't act the same in front of your boss as you do in front of your children, as you do in front of your grandma. It would be very comical, I suppose, to watch you act the same in front of all those people, but that's not how we are. And I think that that's probably for the better. But it makes it especially difficult to define who you really are when you're constantly shifting who you are for each individual person that you're around. So that leads me into my second discovery, that being the real you is actually very difficult. And this is due to external and internal influences. Ralph Waldo Emerson said this quote, and I really like it. "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." I think we live in this world full of so many external influences now, especially in the age of social media, readily available news, and streaming media, that it's hard to even remember who we truly are in all of that. Not to mention, you have a lifetime full of past experiences that have nurtured you into who you have become. Each one of these past experiences, whether they were traumatic or happy events, have shaped you and formed you into who you are now and the personality that you have developed. And then we have this overarching societal expectations that we see pushed onto us from social media and our bosses and our parents and society at large. And so all of these external influences cause us to constantly question who we really are, making it ever more difficult to truly be ourselves. And then we have the internal influences. You see, the thing is, throughout human history, we have had to live in tribes. It's only until modern history that we've been able to be secure on our own. But for the majority of the hundreds of thousands of years of human history, if you did not live in a tribe, you were certain to die. You couldn't take care of yourself against wild beasts or other tribes. And so we have this very innate, very strong desire to be accepted. And that has a huge impact on how we act, because we are going to fall into line with what is expected of us so that we are accepted. So between these external and internal influences, it can be really difficult to determine who you actually are, or who you actually should be. The next thread I came across throughout all of these books and videos is that authenticity is truly powerful. When you see somebody on social media these days, you're watching a fake version of them, something that they've carefully crafted over many videos to be something that they're actually not. They're trying to be something that they think you want to hear so that you don't click off their video. But that's not who we really are. And what we really are starved for is true connection. Andy McDowell said, "When you are authentic, you create a certain energy. People want to be around you because you are unique." And that's the thing, right? Nobody can be you but you. Everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde said this, "Being you is the most natural, most relatable, most authentic thing that you can actually do. And it's the thing that nobody can copy." And the last thing that I came across in my discoveries was that nobody has it all figured out. Nobody. Not the big creators that you see on YouTube, not the movie stars you see on TV. Shit, not even your ER doctor. has it all figured out. As I've gone through every career that I've been through, these very high level, very prestigious careers, I always looked at the people ahead of me and thought, man, I'm going to get there one day. I'm going to have it all figured out one day. And the thing is, no matter how far I've gotten in each of my careers, I never got there because it doesn't exist. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody knows who they truly, truly are. Even the experts out there, the gurus talking about personal branding, the experts talking about being your true self, they don't have it figured out. They are just like you, trying to figure it out and just sharing what they've learned along the way. But let me share with you what I did learn and some lessons that we can take away to become more of ourselves. And lesson number 1 is to determine how you want the world to see you. And this may mean that you're not viewed in the same light in every situation as we spoke about earlier. When you're at work, how do you want to be viewed? When your boss is talking to you, when your spouse is talking to you, how do you want to be viewed? When you're speaking in public, how do you want people to see you? How do you want them to think about you and feel your presence and to feel what you're saying? How do you want your kids to think about you? Because I'm sure the answer to all of these is not the same. So determining the different circumstances of life that you go into and how you want to be viewed in each of those circumstances can really lay the groundwork for moving forward. But if we go one step deeper than that, one step further into our core to determine who we are, and do we want the world to see us in that light, or do we want to come off a different way? Because if we want to come off a different way than the way that we are currently being perceived, then we have to go into step 2. And step 2 is change characteristics with training, or don't. If you want to be different than you are, if you want to be perceived differently than you're currently being perceived, you can absolutely change it. Personalities are flexible. Personalities and habits that we've developed over a lifetime can be changed. So think about if you are one of those people who snorts when they laugh, right? You may not want to do this when you're in public or when you're giving a public speech or when you're at work because you find it very embarrassing. You find it something that's unattractive. Or you may not. You may find that it makes you more endearing and draws people closer to you. So you first have to determine how you want to be perceived, and then you have to look at the characteristics that can get you to that perceived value, and then decide, do they go or do they stay? And if they need to go, then we have to develop an action plan to get rid of them. Because if you intentionally focus on not snorting when you laugh over the next 4 weeks, it can dramatically change the way that you laugh over the rest of your life. But be careful what you cut out, because if you cut out too much, you may cut out the best parts of yourself. And the last lesson is to be the best version of yourself. It's easy to tell somebody, just be you, just be who you are. But as we've discussed, that's actually very hard to define. Instead, be the best version that you can be. When you are in front of your boss, be the best version of yourself that you have decided that you want the world to perceive you as in that situation. When you're speaking with your friends, be the best version of you that you can be in that situation. When I'm talking to you on YouTube, I've decided I'm not going to script my videos anymore. I'm just going to be the best version of me that I can be in front of you. And if you like it, great. If you don't, there's a lot of other YouTube channels to watch out there. My goal is just to pass the most amount of value I can on to you. And the best way I can do that is through just being me and teaching you the things that I've learned along the way. So, who am I? Well, I'm me. I'm the guy who likes to wear khaki-colored chinos and flip-flops and t-shirts. I'm just as comfortable in combat boots as I am in flip-flops. In fact, I'd wear them to the ER if I was allowed to. I'm not a big meat eater. I whined a lot as a child. I've always been a touch creative. I'm super calm under pressure, and I can get along with almost anyone. So, nice to meet me. Finally. Now, who are you?